You go by Reg
Nah, Angel.
or by Angel?
Angel.
Angel. What's going on? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the fruitiest drink you can get possible.
I mean,
Dragon
thank you for
fruit
buying me
mango.
coffee.
No worries. Dragon fruit mango.
I know this shit's fucking $5 a.
Credit
It's
from
expensive,
it's from
right?
Uncle Sam, dude. It's good.
For real?
I get government money, so we're good, dude.
Why do you get government money?
So I'm a veteran. I did about 6 years in the military, and yeah, that's why I get government money from the military.
How old were you when you first joined?
I was, to be exact, I was 19, and when I left, like when I graduated boot camp, I was 20. I actually was on graduation day landed on my birthday, so like didn't get beat up or anything because of it. You know, because usually they make you work out for your birthday. You know, if you're in boot camp. So that was a plus, and we just went and had some pizza and hung out in town in Chicago. That's where we're at, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you were stationed in Chicago when you first enlisted?
Oh well, that's where our boot camp is, and
Okay.
some schools are there. But then I went from Chicago to Florida overnight. Like in a day or two, I went to Florida, Pensacola to be exact, and that's where I got most of my tattoos in Florida. You know what I mean, I was a hanger on for a tattoo shop, and they always practice on me. You know what I mean, so got a lot of free tattoos there, and a lot of cool experiences. You know what I mean. Um, I learned a lot from being in Florida. You know what I mean. It was my first time in the South. I ate all the food, gained a lot of weight, and it was a good time. You know, it was a good time overall. You know, it was a really good time.
So like you were still in the service, having free time, you would hang around the city?
Yeah, I would go. I would go to bars. Or I would go. I would go to. I would go to bars. Or I would go to tattoo shop. I would go to like conventions, just whatever was going on that
Would
week.
you
You
say
know?
that town is kind of like a military town?
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Like everybody, like it's funny, but they the people that the town adopt us sailors because we have no family there. So for holidays, Thanksgivings, they like take us to their house. You know what I mean? We hang out, you know, and do other stuff. But yeah, it's a good experience. You gain family wherever you go. You know, if you have the right perspective. You know,
You said sailor?
huh?
Sailors?
Sailors. I'm a sailor in the from the Navy.
So you're from the Navy,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm in the
Wow.
Navy. Yeah.
Yeah. So before 19, what was your life like? What made you eventually lead to the service?
I felt like I had no structure. You know, I felt like I was just smoking weed all day, which I still do, but I felt like I was doing too much of it from a young age. Like mom always taught me that you have to work hard before you get to have fun, you know. So work hard, play hard type of mindset. So I thought I had to do something like the military to prove myself. You know what I mean, to my family and to these people around me that I can do something else besides just be a hoodlum. You know, just be in the street and because I grew up around graffiti. I grew up around a lot of different lifestyles, and you might know that like lifestyles like graffiti are very negative. You know, there's a lot of negativity. Like most people that are, there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of the stigmas that come with it. You know what I mean? So a lot of the people are like trash people. You know, a lot of the people in the lifestyle. There's only a few people that I've met that are actually worth my time. Everybody else is like very negative or very cocky. You know what I mean? So like I went to a military with that mindset. You know, I had so when I went in, I had a chip on my shoulder. I thought I had something to prove, you know, and they just kind of chopped me down from the beginning. They called me Mexican beaner. They degraded me from such a early on moment that was pivotal that I just became aggressive. You know, I just became different. I became what people consider a typical man in the military would be. You know, cussing and negative and stuff like that. But I met a lot of cool people along the way, and I traveled. I've been to Dubai, India, you know. But I definitely would say that the military has changed me. It gave me something called PTSD, and it distracts me. It makes me live in a different place, like the past. You know what I mean? And it just like it feels like I get teleported into a different world when I'm having my episodes. You know what I mean? And I was also diagnosed with schizophrenia A affected disorder, which means that I have schizophrenia with the dash of bipolar. Um, and that affects me every day. Like if I don't get to smoke weed, or if I don't get to like have my morning rituals, or like how I'm used to having my day go, like I spiral out of control and I start thinking negative things. I start getting anxious and just walking away from people, not finishing conversations, just acting really erratic, you know. So
Well, that's partially you're just taking care of yourself, right? Like walking away from a conversation, maybe someone doesn't understand what's going on. It was going fine. Is that a survival technique? You know, fight or flight. You're like, it's better I separate myself.
I got diagnosed about 2 years ago. I was in the mental hospital, and I still haven't learned how to cope with it very well. So I just kind of like, if I don't make eye contact and stuff like that, it's just because I get anxious. You know what I mean? It's part of people that have schizophrenia. That's just how we are. You know what I mean? Just like little disorders, that little habits that we use to cope. You know what I mean? Just to get through the day. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to be asked a bunch of questions like, "Oh, why are you that way? Why do you act this way? Why do you smoke so much weed? Why do you drink so much?" Like, I'm not. I don't drink, but just people that deal with it different ways. You know what I mean? A lot of veterans, they deal with it with methamphetamines and alcohol. You know what I mean? And I've been down that road, and I don't want to go down that road no more. So I'm trying to better myself, and I'm trying to learn new techniques and better ways to just be as regular as I can be. You know what I mean? With my little quirks. You know what I mean?
How does it make you feel to be misunderstood?
Damn, you're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me choked up. It's the worst. You know what I mean? It's like I want to be like everybody else. You know, I want to like be able to cope the same way. I don't want to like just drug myself every day so I can feel better about myself. You know, and it's hard because like people don't get it. You know what I mean? People like I try to lean towards the people that have like the other disabilities or other stuff like that. One of my good buddies has Tourette's, and he misses school all the time, and I started missing school because of my schizophrenia too. And it's, you know, I don't really miss school, but I just like, it's just hard. You know, it's just really hard. Some days I don't want to come. You know what I mean? It's just some days I don't want to be around people. You know, I want to isolate. You know what I mean? And it's just really hard to like deal with certain things. You know? Yeah.
Um, you said you had an episode 2 years ago.
Well, I have little episodes all the time, but the biggest episode I had was 2 years ago when I was coming off of meth, and uh, my mom came to rescue me because I was all beat up. I had bruises all over my head. I was involved in a street gang, so I was like just doing a lot of negative things. You know what I mean? And my mom picked me up. I was all bruised up. I was in my underwear, all bruised up, and she's like, "Hey, I'm taking you home." And I was like, "I'm ready to go home." Like, you know what I mean? I'm tired of this place. You know, I hadn't seen her like in a year or two, and it was just like we had just seen each other like the day before. You know, I felt like she's the only one that I trusted at that moment. I felt like everybody was there to jump me or hurt me or do something to me. You know what I mean? I was just in a negative state of mind. I was in paranoia and psychosis. So mom took me, instead of taking me to eat or taking me to her house, she took me to a mental hospital in West LA, and I was acting really vulgar with the cops, calling on pigs and being really negative, and they ended up giving me for lack of better words, a shot in the butt, so I can pass out. And I woke up the next day and I was really mad, you know, and I got stuck there for a while. And I would call my mom. A lot of people don't know this, but I would call my mom, harassing her every day, like, "Why'd you put me in here? Like, why am I here? Like, you told me you were gonna take me to eat." You know what I mean? Like, I was just mad
Yeah.
because that's where my mind was. Like, I was just thinking day to day. You know, I was thinking about going to eat and just being a normal person. I wasn't thinking about like doing dope again. You know what I mean? I was thinking about just being a regular person. So like, kind of devastated when my mom didn't think that I can get off of it on my own. You know what I mean? But I guess I needed that. So
She didn't trust you.
the trust is still getting built back even to this day. You know what I mean? Like like just a lot of things that I don't have control of. You know what I mean? But it's fine. You know, it's just you have to learn. You have to learn to give other people the reins when you can't be in control all the time. You know?
The time between then and the end of service. Can you talk about like the end of your service in the Navy? How did that end?
And then like on paper it ended really well, but
Yeah.
it was dark. You know what I mean? Like I I got sent on an assignment like year and a half before I left the Navy, or 2 years maybe. I got sent to another city. I was stationed in Bremerton, Washington. I got sent to Everett, Washington, to work on some support equipment for bombs. And during that time, I picked up alcoholism at its highest, and pills. I was on pills too, like allergy medicine, whatever pills I could get, I would mix with alcohol and get belligerent. And it was a dark time because I was pushing a lot of people away with my actions. You know what I mean? I was acting belligerent, and like we'd go eat and sushi, and I would just be super negative the whole time, yelling at people. So people didn't want to hang out with me no more. So it was a dark time. I broke up with my girlfriend that time too, and it was just really dark. You know what I mean? I was going through a lot. The transition was really hard from getting out to the regular world. You know what I mean? I'm still struggling with it. I'm dealing with the day to day life, but that's how it went.
So you came home to your folks?
So yeah, I came home to my mom's house in Whittier apartment. She was living in an apartment, and it was a little chaotic. You know what I mean? It was a little chaotic in my family life at the time. I don't remember exactly what's going on, but I just remember that everything was a little chaotic getting out. You know what I mean? Just trying to be a regular person and stuff.
And that pushed you to the streets? Friends from your past, from high school?
Um,
How did you end up
I
on
pushed me.
drugs?
I pushed me to the streets.
Yeah.
So I got an. I started dating this. I have to mention this part because it's like a gap.
Yeah.
I started dating this girl that had a kid, and I'm not gonna mention her name or anything, but it wasn't working out or whatever. I was being toxic. She was being toxic. It was mostly me being toxic, so it wasn't working out because I was dealing with a lot of PTSD. I didn't know how to deal with it or cope or anything. So she left for a while, and she said she was gonna come back after a month of a break. You know what I mean? She had a kid and stuff, so there wasn't good environment for the kid. So they left. And when they left, they just broke my heart. Honestly, I felt like devastated. I've always had a girlfriend or somebody around. So when she left, I felt like I betrayed. So I got in an argument with my mom, and I left to Washington. And I was growing weed out there, and like just working at graffiti stores, whatever I can do to make money. And I was still seeing the girl, which was toxic. You know what I mean? Because she's the reason why I left. And I kind of had that going on for a while. And then, what was your question again?
How you ended up going
Oh, how I
from
ended
your
up
lowest
going.
point
So I
on
was,
drugs?
so I was, so I ended up. She ended up living with me all the time. We ended up hanging out. I ended up going to Washington. We ended up still hanging out. My mom gave me all my money I had in savings. I ended up spending it on the girl. Um, I came back to I broke up with her again. We split it up. I came back to LA, and I had nowhere to go. It's because I ran out of my psych meds. I had nowhere to go. I was suicidal. I was trying to run in front of cars and stuff. I was in a really dark place, trying to get hit by a car. Because I was like, I'm a street cat. That's the way to go. I might as well get hit by a car. It's just in my.
Were you drunk, or
No, I was out of my psych meds.
so you're just
So I was like strung out from my medicine. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And I was also on shrooms, to be honest.
oh shit?
So the
Okay.
shrooms just like elevated it. You know what I mean?
And this is recently from Washington,
From Washington about like 2.5 years ago.
but now you're in LA going through this episode.
Yeah, no, I was in Washington going through the episode, and then I came back, and I was still like, it was like an ongoing episode.
Uh-huh.
I was homeless for like a couple days, and then I ended up like a week maybe, and then I ended up going to the West LA VA Center. I had a sheriff was helping me, which I've never liked cops, and he would laugh at this video because he knows that I don't like cops. You know what I mean? But like he helped me out. He was a sheriff, and I owe him my life because he did everything for me. He got me out of Skid Row. He helped me get into like a little hotel for a bit, and they helped me get off the streets. And I thought I was doing better, but I actually ended up in South Central, and I ended up on drugs. I ended up on drugs because everybody was doing it. And I thought, I had nothing going for me. I thought my mom didn't love me no more. I thought nobody cared about me, so I just started. And obviously, it was all a lie. But I started smoking meth with dabs. I would take a little I would take a glob of dabs, which is like a little chunk of sticky stuff, and then I would put a shard of meth on the end, and I would smoke it, and then I would go hit the town and run amok. You know what I mean? So
Do you think if you could go back, would you not have joined the service? Or
that's a heavy question. I think I would have done it either way because it was a good thing for me. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm my worst enemy. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to do with the military or anything. Like I could have gone through other traumatic moments and I would have still ended up the same. You know what I mean? I would have either ended up with PTSD from the streets, which I did end up with PTSD from the streets, but I would have ended up worse off. You know, if I would have been in prison or dead. You know what I
right,
mean? Just
right.
where I was going. So I don't regret the military. I feel like the military was the best thing for me. Honestly, it taught me a lot. You know, it changed my perspective on life.
What do you credit your mental disorder to? Drugs?
I think the drugs took it over the top. You know, it was like the cherry on the sundae. You know what I mean? But mental health is still being researched, and there's a lot that we don't know about it. But I think just from doing a little bit of research, it comes from. I think my specific situation comes from putting my all into relationships and things because it says when you get a lot of broken hearts from a young age, it affects your mental health, and it makes you schizophrenic. You know, it makes you bipolar and schizophrenic because your body's not able to understand why somebody left you. You know what I mean, why you put your all into something and it happened. I'm not trying to get too deep or too weird, but
Right.
yeah, that. I was divorced when I was like 21, 22. So I think that affected me a lot. You know what I mean? Just brought a lot of negativity into my life, and I feel like everything went downhill after that. You know what I mean?
And this was a different woman than the one that had a child?
Yeah, it's different.
This is the one that you had while in the service. So
Yeah,
she
well,
would
I'm sure.
travel with you?
No, she
No?
would stay home.
You know?
Yeah, it brought a lot of strain. You know, it
That really broke your heart, right? It really affected you when you separated?
yeah, because it was the first girl. Like I said, I love you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a very loving person like I used to be, and it kind of breaks my heart. It makes me sad to think about it. But like, I used to be very loving and very compassionate, and I just become a lot more darker and a lot more realistic. You know what I mean? With how to deal with people, and it sucks because I wish I was still a happy-go-lucky kid. You know?
Yeah. Right, right. I have an idea that that first experience of love, it'll really send your life in a certain direction, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
There's serial killers. Like this is just an example of like really bad mental disorder. I'm not aggressive, so
that
I would
go
never
ahead.
like on purpose kill somebody.
Right.
But there's serial killers that base their whole life off one female that broke their heart. You know what I mean? That devastated them. They end up killing girls that look similar, or you know what I mean, or only going after certain people. You know what I mean? And it's
Wow.
just it really messes up because we live our whole life trying to pursue women. You know, i.e. straight men, we live our whole life trying to pursue women and make a life with them and do our best with them, and sometimes we fail and we don't know how to comprehend. You know what I mean?
Nature or nurture?
What do you mean?
When I asked about if you would have joined the service, you said you probably would have been worse off, right? I have this idea also, a man in their 20s would have so much energy, like an animal in his prime, right? So much energy to love, to explore, to achieve, you know. We're thinking even so much energy that we don't even know how to use it if we don't have guidance, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you believe your life to this point was more nature or nurture?
Like just my natural instinct,
Who
or
you are, was it because of who brought you up, your what you were around, or your biological makeup? Because you said even if you didn't go to the service, you still might have ended up who you are today. That nature or nurture? Would that happen
I
naturally?
I think I would have. I think I would have ended up in the same place because of natural circumstances, like nature. You know what I mean? Just because like I already had the gene of schizophrenia. I already had an aspiration to be a gangbanger. I had already, you know what I mean? That was always, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted, like, I know it's a negative thing, but like, I've always aspired to be the big dog, you know, to be like the one that, like you said, like we want to accomplish things from a young age. You want to do things, and I looked up to the negative people. You know what I mean? So I think I would have ended up doing the same thing just at a younger age. I would have ended up worse off. You know what I mean? I would have. I think if it wasn't for my nurture, like how my mom raised me, I wouldn't have been where I'm at. You know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I think the thing that would have kept me in the same boat was my natural instincts. But if it wasn't for my mom raising me the way she did, I would have, like, if I would have been raised by my dad, I would have been in a cartel somewhere killing
Right.
people. You know, doing something negative. You know what I mean?
Do you still get caught up thinking about your past failures sometimes?
All the time, all the time. You know, I try not to think about emotions. That's why I try to stay high and stuff, because I try not to think about feelings and like emotions. But like, yeah, they play a major part. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to make the same mistakes. You know.
Right. All right, one last. If you could just put in one sentence, um, the most important thing this far that you've learned with this life, maybe you could tell someone else to avoid, maybe some paths you went down, maybe some choices you made that maybe they could avoid those same mistakes. And also what you find the most important thing with this life.
And this is against what they teach men growing up, but just to stay gentle. You know, just stay kind. And it breaks my heart and it makes me choke up thinking about it, because like I lived my whole life trying to be hard. You know, and I'm just a soft guy. You know, I'm just kind. And sorry, it's just hard. You know, it's hard because we live our whole life trying to be hard. We live our whole life trying to show off to people and try and please people. And it's just like, as long as you stay gentle and kind and you stay compassionate, you'll succeed in life. They always say that nice guys finish last, but maybe finishing last, as long as you stay in the race longer than everybody else, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you're supposed to pace yourself. You're supposed to take it a day at a time. You're supposed to take it a step at a time. You know, I leave the house just to get fresh air. You know, because if not, I'll just take take dabs all day and like cloud myself with my own thoughts. You know what I mean? I like to come out and see other people's perspective and emotions. You know what I mean? Because like, sorry, I'm off my medication, so I'm a little emotional. But yeah, it's just, you know,
Stay kind.
just stay kind, stay gentle. You know, stay be trained, but be gentle. You know what I mean?
Right.
Train your fingers for war, but train your mind for kindness. You know, that's just how it is.
All right, Angel. Be a gentleman.
Thank you.
All right, Angel. Thank you.